Now with the growing concern over banking failures and how the fallout could affect families. And Rebecca is back to answer your questions sent in by viewers to help out, because yesterday I said it, there's just such growing concern from our viewers and you want to help as best you can. So let's get right to it, Rebecca. Let's start with Damien from Phoenix, Arizona, who sent us this question via Twitter.
Given the recent bank failures, are we already at the start of a recession, or should we expect one in late 2023 or early 2024?
So, Robin, Damien asked a great question here. There's been a lot of talk for many months now about recession. Are we in one? Will we see one? And most analysts have been forecasting some sort of recession later this year. That's because of the environment we're already in, inflation. You add the bank troubles to the mix, and what some analysts are now forecasting is a recession later this year because of the fact that when you see a bank like SVB go under, all the banks start tightening up. They say, we're not ready to just lend as quickly as we were before. They want to take on less risk. That means less money into the economy. Less money in the economy means a slower moving economy, which then can lead to a slowdown and ultimately a recession.
It's a trickle effect right
Exactly.
there. All right. How about Mandy from Gilbert, Arizona? She has a question about how the bank failures could inflect inflation, as you've been talking.
Will the cost of living ever go down, or will we be stuck at these prices forever?
Okay, so, and this has been a question now also for a while, Robin. Here's what's really interesting about this moment. The Federal Reserve has been hiking interest rates, meaning people are spending more money on those credit card payments. They are spending more money to get out new mortgages. And the whole reason they've been hiking interest rates is to drive inflation down. But inflation has remained really historically high. What could happen in this moment, and again, no one has a crystal ball here, but what could happen in this moment is that the Fed stops hiking rates as aggressively, so those credit card payments don't keep going up, but inflation comes down a bit because overall, again, the economy is slower moving. People have less money to spend in an environment where the banks are a little less certain, and as a result of that, prices start to come down. Again, where we look at inflation really coming down to what we would consider normal is still a few years away.
Still
a few years away.
Okay, next up, Patricia from New York. She has this question.
I'd like to know how this will impact the rest of the financial services industry.
That's a good question.
It is. And you were just talking about this. We were talking about the fact that a lot of people in the midst of this have taken their money from a smaller bank and put it inside the bigger banks. So one of the things we're already seeing is those bigger banks are getting bigger yet again. There's also very likely going to be more regulation. More regulation tends to amount to higher fees. The bank gets tighter restrictions. They pass those fees off to the consumer. So you could see higher banking fees. And then for the moment, we might see less lending. Again, banks don't want to take on huge amounts of risk right now, so they're going to lend less money.
And speaking of banks, Pat had this question from Facebook. If an average consumer banks at a mid-sized bank, how can they reliably find out how secure that bank is?
So the most important thing you want to check for, and this applies to today, and it applied 10 years ago, and it will apply hopefully 10 years into the future. You want an FDIC insured bank. That means under all circumstances, your funds are guaranteed up to $250,000. Yes, you can watch things like stock alerts, you can watch the daily news, but ultimately that money up to $250,000 is safe, and the government has just stepped in now and said it's all safe.
And you cannot say that enough.
That's right.
I know. We have more questions. You're so good about social media answering these questions, and so if people have a question, they can reach out to you,
Absolutely. At Rebecca Jarvis. Thanks, Robin.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.